Here, let's make sure we got all these lights on. I use several different lights. This one light I have has two different color bulbs. And then right now we're just using this one for the live show. Last night I worked around this area. And what I was doing is just getting all of the lengths of the windows in. I've got just a random little graffiti up here. I've got my salt and pepper shakers kind of put in. And then I put a sleeve of saltine crackers right there. I thought that would look good, depending on how I'm going to shade that underneath so it looks like it's falling over or not. Well, we'll have to wait and see. So hold on, I'm gonna have a little drink here. I do need to fix a couple little things, but they'll have to dry. And I can come back and do a little over there, especially this area. I'll have to put a little bit of darker lines in there when it dries. So I think that's looking good. I put a little pipe across there. I put a little area in here. This middle section is going to look like it's raised up a little bit when I'm done. And that way the light can shine through it. On with that. So I am going to work on these windows today, and hopefully this area I can just do a little bit more and it'll be done. I did get these ghost windows put in too. Mm. And a little bit of tea as I go. Okay, here we go. We're going to, oh, we are already out of paint. Well, let's do the paint, I guess. Okay, I guess we got to do a little paint episode. All right, let's move some things around and about so we can get that paint in here and look at it. I stay organized as much as I can, but in the end, you just really throw stuff around. Okay, so what we've got is, this is chunky and dry. Let's pull out that chunky stuff and let's just put that into the middle of my pile of paper towels. Clean that off. And I keep this big piles because every time I put turpenoid on my brush and clean it off, it'll absorb the turpenoid. I don't need to keep these anymore. I just start over and over again. And I'll start with a brand new piece of paper towel now. I'll just start with one piece and I'll just fold it in half or in thirds. And that way the turpenoid can just go right into this and not leak onto my table. Just a tiny little tip. And then I got a little bit of white. That looks good, but we definitely need more Payne's Gray. The Payne's Gray is super oily, so I've been doing two things. I've got my old Payne's Gray that's older than me. It's just very dry. I've been working really hard with my tube wrangler, trying to pull it up as much as I can, reach, and then I'll use my palette knife to see if I could get a little bit more out. So there we go. Just a little bit at a time. It's pretty much how I'm dealing with it. And then here we go. We've got that nice hard chunk of that Payne's Gray. We will use it all. I have done 7 paintings with this, of this similar styling of Payne's Gray and white. It's my interpretation of black and white, just a little different. I like the Payne's Gray a little bit better than the black. So let's see, let's put this right here into this area. Now there's a lot of oil on top of this one. Look, I don't know if you guys can see that shiny oil in there. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of oil. I'm gonna push this in to the paint and it'll grab a little oil around the side. I'm going to put that right into the dry paint and we're just going to mix those two up. This is the worst palette knife to use for this. This was one of the bad palette knives that I bought, and I did a whole video and made fun of these, how bad these palette knives are. But I was using it more to scrape out the paint than I am usually for mixing my paint. But it is not very good at mixing. It's like a solid dud. It doesn't have the bend of a regular palette knife. So there we go. So I said I gotta tell another story today, and today I should tell the story about the black dog. I thought, well, that'd be a good story. The black dog that we thought was a bear. All right, so I'll just tell that as I go at painting. So I've got all of that. I'm going to hold this Payne's Gray onto my palette knife. I'm going to set up my little station right here. Now I'm going to keep my terpenoid and my walnut oil over here off to the side. I have a tendency to spill those, so I just don't want to do that. I've got my picture, but I don't need that right now, so I'm going to put that away. And I've got my little tool that helps me make straight lines. And then we'll pull out the paintbrushes I'm going to use today. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. There we go. I've been wearing these paintbrushes out so fast that I might have to go back in again and get another one. All right. I think 5 paintbrushes I've worn from this painting already. As you can imagine, the canvas, even though it has a couple coats of paint, will eat your paintbrushes up. Just eat them up and destroy them. All right, let's stop there. We got everything ready to go. A little tea would help me quite a bit. And where are we going to work today? We did last night. I worked 9.5 hours yesterday on my painting. And I started cleaning up this corner. This really didn't have a lot going on in it. And so I decided that this is a great place to work. We're getting so much closer. This is so exciting. It really is fun. And so what I need to do is finish these windows off by putting the cross braces. Now there are words for these window parts. I should pull that out. I have it written down because I've had to make windows, and I actually did a whole thing about what each part of the window is called. Do you think I could remember any of that? No. In and out. I learn it, I go on, and then I learn something else and I completely forget. So I realize you can only remember so many things. Plus, if you're not talking about something every day, it's impossible. Like, there's a time I could name, like, probably all the countries, let's say in South America. I could do that no problem and point them out. Nowadays, no, I can't. I forgot. So if you don't use it all the time, you're gonna lose it. In fact, Grandpa used to say, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. And those are some great words to live by. Today I did my 3-mile walk. It was exciting. I'm trying to be here by about 11:30 on my lives, and I'm trying to do the YouTube first because it is the most scariest to do lives off of. So I figured I'd come over here and try my best here first before I go to the next social media site and do a live. Yesterday I was doing a live on another social media, and I don't know how I pressed some button and ended up someone else on my live feed right there. And I don't like to do lives with other people because I'm actually talking about stuff. I don't want to sit and talk to some random person, you know. And so I could not figure out how to get them off of my live show. I just had to end. I forget about it. Awkward. All right. So many years ago, the black dog story. Many years ago, we had a day off in a cold November day to go motorcycle riding up Walker Valley in Washington State, and we usually park in one spot, but this time we parked in a different place completely, and it was a tough trail to get in. It was a trail that we hadn't been on before, and it was a pretty tough trail. It was a lot of rocks and ruts and stumps. You know, there was one part where it was like a 3-foot drop or something, and it was hard to get your bike across that. But we did it, and we rode all around that day. We didn't come across anybody because it was the middle of the week. So, and plus it was, you know, cold November day. And we were heading back, and it looked like a bear. There's a bear, and we have seen bear up there before. And we're like, oh my gosh, a bear. We stop, and it's a black dog, and it's like a black lab, but it's much bigger than a black lab. I can't remember what I think we thought the type of dog was, but if you look up, there's this another dog that's very big. It looks like a black lab. And this poor dog had been lost a long time, and you could also tell that someone cared for the dog because he didn't smell. But his feet were very worn from walking for I don't know how long he was lost. I don't think anybody dumped him, but he was very skinny, lost. And so we brought him home. His foot pads were worn out, and we brought him home, and he was so skinny, but he was so big. He laid on the couch and took the whole couch up, like a 3-person seat couch. That's how big this dog was. So skinny, and couldn't find. This is before internet too, so you can't just pop on there and be like, "Oh, we found this dog." My friend took the dog from us and said she would take care of the dog, and proceeded to go look for the original owners, and she never did. And that dog and her lived happily ever after. And I guess that, gained some weight and stuff. But when we had the dog, it was super skinny and he weighed like 150 pounds. But that's not the hard part of the story. The hard part of the story is the dog couldn't walk. We had to pick the dog up and bounce it and put him on my husband's motorcycle. And the dog couldn't really hold himself up either. So he had to try to we had to take a coat and wrap it around the dog and wrap him up, put him on the front of the motorcycle, and my husband holding the dog, and then ride out that very difficult trail we rode back in on. And it wasn't a far trail. I mean, it wasn't very difficult. I mean, very much length to do, but it was a hard trail, and taking that dog back was hard. So got the dog in the car, just about to pull out, and Ranger pulls in, and he says, "Did you guys know that the park is closed?" And we were like, "What?" They had closed the park down because of some streams needed to recover from being ridden in. This was back in the day. This was an issue. And so we didn't even know, but it was kind of lucky that we came out there and rescued that dog. So that was one of our dog rescue stories. Of the big black dog. Yeah, I'm trying to remember, if we weighed him, he weighed like 170 pounds, skinny. So yeah, definitely. I want to look right here. Okay, that looked totally wrong to me. I was like, no, I have to redo all of that. Nope, I don't have to. Okay. Yeah, so I got my salt and pepper shaker water towers in. They look pretty good. I put the little holes on the top. I might go ahead and put another little section across there. Let's do that real quick. Why we're here. Since we're here, what I'm going to do is put a tiniest amount of walnut oil on my tiny brush, dip it into a little bit of white, and then here, oops, I got to do the glass exchange. See, I have glasses for painting, and they really help out my neck. My neck stopped hurting once I got these glasses, because I was tilting my head and neck so I could look at the lower bifocal part of my glasses. There we go. Okay, that looks much better. Okay. I watched a very strange movie last night called Dust Bunny with Mads Mikkelsen. I don't know. It's a very interesting little movie. I want to see I'm going to watch one of those explain the movie to me videos. I feel like I definitely need to do that for that movie. I understood the movie, but sometimes, they're darker than you think. And then the explanation makes you go, oh, I get it. I watched Hereditary the other day, and I was watching an explanation movie, and they said, did you know it sounds like Hereditary sounds like her head hit a tree? And I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. That's crazy. The little horror movie stuff. All right. And we're just gonna go ahead and put that in across. Yeah, I've saved a few dogs. The one dog which I've saved. Well, I was working and doing painting some signage for our business at the business, and we're outside, and a little white Pomeranian runs by. Well, I used to have Pomeranians. They're not free running dogs, so obviously there was an issue, and we're right in the city, like we're on a Strode type of city area. So I immediately grab the dog. I get the dog because it's scared and confused, so it'll let me get the dog. But it doesn't ever understand me. Anything I say to the dog, it has no like simple commands that most dogs know. It does not know anything. So I'm like figuring out what the heck, what's this dog, you know? We catch the dog. I love the dog. I put a post up on Facebook, and we bring the dog home. We're a little bit farther away from where we found the dog. Mm. And the dog, by the way, the dog was running like so fast, like I had to save this poor dog. So I get home, and finally I get contacted on Facebook saying, you know, this is our dog. And we're like, oh good, finally, because we've been trying to communicate with this dog, and it would not communicate with us. It was really pissed off. And if you know anything about Pomeranians, you would understand, you know, how this dog is feeling. And finally, the people call, you know, I talk to them, and I find out the reason the dog doesn't understand us is because they're Chinese. And so I said to the dog, oh, you're Chinese. And the dog looked at me like, you know who I am. It was the look on this dog's face when I said, oh, you're Chinese. And it looked at me like, yeah, no kidding, dude. My family's Chinese. So when the kids came, it was some boys that came to get their family dog. The dog attacked one of the boys. So you know what happened is the dog got in trouble by one of the boys and ran off and ran down the road upset, and then we rescued the dog, and the dog was mad at this one boy, and they were laughing, but you know, but reality, he felt really bad, you could tell. And that dog must have owned the house, I must say. The dog must have owned their lives. So that was the little white Pomeranian that we rescued. We also, my husband was out and driving past the desert, and he seen this little kind of like a husky type of little puppy outside running around, probably around 4 to 6 months. It was almost full grown, but yeah, you could still see it was more puppy. And so he went, and he had to coax the dog out. It must have been out for a while because it had barricaded itself in a pipe, and I'm sure that all the coyotes out there didn't help the situation any. So he finally got the dog to come out, and he got the dog in the car, and the dog was very scared. Did not like cars. I don't know how the dog is today with cars, but still a little bit better, but did not like cars. So we brought her home, and we have a rescue dog here, and we've had our rescue dog for about a year by the time we got this other dog. And my rescue dog, she just would love this. She was like, who's this dog? She loved it and hated it, you know. But she learned so many things from that little puppy, and it was really great. It was really cute. And we ended up giving the dog to a sister-in-law who has her and takes care of her now, and she's got a wonderful life. She was such a good dog that she would sit right in front of you, all attention, ready to go anytime. She was always there, attention ready, and just a sweetheart. So that was the dog up in the desert that we saved and rescued. I'm trying to think, there's so many little stories about animals that you find along the way and find their homes. I mean, even here, I was sitting here just a couple weeks ago, and I went outside, And I seen a little dog. What are they like? The little schnauzers. They used to be really popular in the 80s. You know, every era has a popular dog era, and I think the 80s these schnauzers were popular. And I seen him out there, and I was like, "Oh, this ain't right." So I picked him up, brought him in the house, and I went out and made a sign and put it outside. And my dog, who did not know what to think about this dog, it was the jump, the jump and look at each other every 5 seconds type of thing. And so I seen some people walking around, but I have a sign out in front of my house. Finally, someone comes and knocks. Three people walked right by my sign, didn't even see it. I mean, literally, I don't know how you couldn't see my sign. Free dog. Or lost dog found or something like that. Lost dog found. So finally they got their dog, but it was so cute. And I carried their dog. I picked their dog up and carried it for a little bit because he was so adorable. And the guy was looking at me like, "What the heck are you doing carrying my dog?" I was like, "Oh, sorry, I have to carry this cute little dog for a second. My dog is too big to pick up and carry." She doesn't even like it if you pick her up and try to hug her because, she was a rescue and she definitely never played. We got her when she was probably around 18 months. You could tell she never played. She would never jump up onto anything or jump down. Super cautious and takes food very gently. You can leave a bowl of food out for her and she will meter herself out and how much food she eats. So, I mean, what a good girl she is. And she's just learning now how, after 4 years, how to cuddle with us. It's very adorable. She kind of sneaks in. She crawls in like a army ranger on her arms, trying to sneak in there just to get as close as she can, get her face right up by us. It's adorable. And then if you don't pet her for a half a second, she's all mad at you. She turns her head away and then she moves away from you. Talk about a spoiled little dog, let me tell you. It's kind of funny. All right. So I'm just finishing up these little things, telling my dog story. I appreciate anybody out there hanging out watching my live. Super appreciate it. I am practicing talking and painting at the same time, and I'm getting better at it. I really feel that I have worked hard on getting rid of saying a lot. I think that's a human, it's just something that we all have. And through the years, that's one thing I noticed that I've really worked hard on, getting rid of saying a lot. So if you ever need a public speaker, I've been practicing. uh, do a little public speaking here and there. Yep, yep. All right, his lines have to all line up. There we go. And right here. So for tonight for dinner, I think what we're gonna have is Kentucky Fried Chicken, which I haven't had in years. I said, well, let's do that. Just get a bucket of chicken, and that will last us part of the weekend. Then we don't have to deal with it. Any food things for part of the weekend. Nice. And I have to make lasagna this weekend, so I gotta remember to do that. The secret to my lasagna is cheese. Too much cheese. Everybody always loves my lasagna, but the secret is cheese. Just too much of it. And you can't just use mozzarella. You have to use a little bit of other cheeses too to get that perfect flavor. Oh, I think like these windows are off. Maybe that's why. See, these haven't really been built in yet. They just have been placed. So the building in is more like you're getting an all perfect centered line, everything around the same size. And just building in where it's going to be. And then I'll come back later and I'll straighten out those lines. See, this one just still looks off, but we're going to do our best we can, like I said. And if I can't get it perfect, I'm okay to a point. Because the point is, you should look at this painting and see the city. And then when you really sit there and look at it, then you can start to see the oddness and the weird things. Oh, there's a CAT on my deck. My DOG sees it. Hi, kitty! Trying to make friends with the barn cat out here. I swear there's the same generation of cat year after year on this property. In the 90s, there was a cat here, um, and looked just like this other cat too. So it makes me think they're just generations of the same cat over and over again here. And we had one called Big Mama Kitty or something, and used to come out here, and Grandma would feed that cat, and then it became domesticated. Well, she couldn't have the cat, so we brought the cat to our lives and had that cat for a long time. And I think that, and then she had another cat, and then that cat and was a also a wild cat that she took care of. And after a while, he was even in the house. A real sweetheart cat, and then passed away. So here we got another cat, looks like both those first two cats. And it's funny because we have a black cat out here, we have the calico cats, but this is a long-haired tiger cat. My dog doesn't, oh, don't you bark. Lady, lady, it's our friend. Lady, it's our friend, I know. I know. Oh, that's hilarious. Bye, kitty. My dog, I have friends. I want to eat those friends. They're super good. My husband's been raising chickens, and he's been getting a lot of eggs. And every night he goes out and he gets the eggs. And yeah, at nighttime instead of morning, we do the opposite here. Every night he goes out and gets the eggs. And our dog has learned to also pick the eggs up. So she has learned to pick the egg up, put it in her mouth, and carry it. So it is adorable that she's doing that. And she's being super careful not to break the egg. So there you go. And then I've been wanting to give her better dog food. And I read that she can have an egg. So actually, I've been giving her an egg. Well, because now we have 3,000 eggs every day. I don't eat eggs, it's just my husband and now the dog. And they can't eat 3,000 eggs a day. So luckily, he's found somebody else now to take on the chain of eating the eggs. So some coworker's going to buy them, I guess. So that is the story of the eggs. Now this building, I never noticed how crooked this is. I was listening recently that some parts of America, their convenience stores don't have hot food. And now I want to just let you know that every single convenience store I've ever been in has hot food here in Washington State. Every single convenience store, you can get a burrito. Everyone. Oh, hello, the Rock 1991. Thank you. Yeah, working hard on this. I did get this section done last night. Well, I'm going to come over this a little bit more because it's not that dark, and plus this part here is supposed to be darker. There we go. And get these more straightened out. I did put this sleeve of saltines in too. I think that looks good along with the salt and pepper shaker. Pardon me. If I didn't have to clear my throat all the time, I'd be doing great. All right. Well, let's come back over here and put these back down again and straighten these out as we go. So yay, we didn't bark at the cat this time. But we're still interested in it, I guess. It's just a cat. It's just a cat. All right. And let's see, as I'm going through, these will definitely need some work because you can look, if you look sideways down them, you can tell what's off and this, that, and the other. So I can kind of guess two different ways if stuff is good. First by my lines around, and then by going back over and looking at it just visually with my eyes. All right, just there. Go across. Get some more paint. Now my dog's all interested in looking outside to see where that cat went. Why? I don't know. I don't know why. But she's there. Now she's not chasing cats anymore. We stopped her from doing that because there are a lot of farm cats out here walking around, hanging out. But you know, it's hard to take something primitive away. You can tell, I always say, oh, she's in her primitive state. Her eyes will get, you know, they're more alert, so the blood is flowing, and you could tell in their eyes. They're a lot more primitive looking, more creature looking. Their eyes look like they're ready to hunt. Not that cute puppy face that they give you regularly, but the other face. So you can say, oh, she's in a primitive mode right now. We just need to get her out of the area and not expect her to behave properly because, you know, she's a dog. She automatically wants to chase and eat the things that are around. It's just her. No matter how many times I ask her not to, I can only expect her to not do it so many times, right? The primitive response. Okay, then I'm gonna go across here. So it's my job as a dog owner and protector to make sure she doesn't hurt anybody or any animal, and no animal hurts her. I feel like that's a safe thing to do. Yes, of course, I remember you from the other day from Germany. Any promise on your Dust Till Dawn? Yeah. It's actually, I did a video. Oh, I haven't put a video out here yet. I will show you really quick my Dust Till Dawn stuff that I got at the thrift store. So I couldn't get the motorhome. I couldn't get the motorhome because I guess it was 77 or 78. And so I ended up just getting this motorhome, which is a 06, I believe. But I'll just paint it up and make it work, you know, for what I'm doing. So there's my motorhome. It's not what I thought I was getting, a 78. I thought I was getting the other one. And when it came, I said, that's not it. I was a little disappointed. But I said, I'll make it work. And then what I can do is not attach it to the diorama. So if I ever get the proper motorhome, bam, I'm all good. My dog's over here. I'm on the video thing talking. Yeah, you're so cute. Okay, so I got a couple of these large trucks for the diorama. This will look great on the hill coming down. So if you look at the last scene, up on top by the pyramid, it's usually these type of trucks. The smaller box trucks, not these long ones. But if you look down the hill, these are down the hill. So a lot of these are just hanging off down the hill. So I've got a couple of those. I got the Shopko, the Dole, and the Snapple. And then I got a bunch of these. And I haven't even gone through my own supplies. Oh, that's the wrong one. My own supplies yet to see if what I have. So I'm going to use a lot of these box trucks. Get another one out there. There we go. And then I will get those ready to go too. And those will be all around. This project, the Dust Till Dawn project, is going to literally take like 20 hours at the very most. I think I've already built the structure this weekend. The Dust Till Dawn diorama is going to be a wall hanger. So you're going to hang it on the wall, and it's going to have a light coming out of the very top, and the light is going to go across the hit this motorhome, so it reflects the image of the motorhome on the wall. How tall will it be? I want to say it's like, so it is 1/60 scale. So it's about 18 to 20 inches. I do have it out in the shop. It's all almost actually put together. I already put all the wood structure together, and I have all the styrofoam cut and ready to go. So pretty much I just have to assemble it, put the joint compound down, paint it, add dirt and the cars. It's super, this one will be super easy. So, also, I was thinking about doing something a little bit more artistic to it. So at the bottom, since I have it hanging on the wall, at the bottom is a big space, empty space. I thought about doing a dirt or a cave pyramid coming down out of that. And then making tiny vampires? I don't know. So if I did that, it'd be a lot of work, you can see. But if I did it to that other section, putting a pyramid underneath the pyramid in reverse cave structure underneath coming down, it would look really cool. But without people or references of any other kind, I don't think it's really going to give the message that I want. So I'm probably not going to do that as much. And if I did that, I'd have to be something that you could slide on and attach to the bottom, because otherwise it won't, you wouldn't be able to do anything with it unless you could take it apart and be able to set it down. So it's more of that. It's more of that. And like another project right now I'm thinking about is, how am I supposed to open it up and you look inside? So I'm making a house, and I'm trying to figure out how to hinge this house that I could build it so you could still look inside without taking away from any of the effort of it. So it's so many little things like that you have to think about. I'm going with the 160 scale because of the Hot Wheels are much less expensive than buying train set cars. Excuse me. If I bought a 148 scale, HO scale cards, they would be about $30 to $45 each, and I need a lot. So I think that wouldn't really work with me if I had to do that. So the doing the Hot Wheels scale and then doing it with 160 scale, which is what I've been doing all of my Hot Wheel dioramas, then they can all fit together too. And the reason I picked 160 scale is because Hot Wheels actually go in between all of those scales. They go, every vehicle is a different scale. I know that they say 156, I think, scale, but I have found 164, 162. So you can definitely say all these different sizes and scales are just gonna alter just enough, but it will work for this diorama. So yeah, I'm super excited about that one. Dusk Till Dawn. It was actually a viewer on one of the other social media sites that mentioned it, and I was like, dang it. And I built it in my head immediately, and I said, I guess I gotta make that too. One of my other miniature artists I'm watching, they're making they're making dioramas from the movie Seven with Brad Pitt and was it Morgan Freeman? Yeah, so they're making the diorama for that set. That's really cool. I think they're on YouTube. I'll have to check if they're on YouTube or something. I'll have to link you up and tell you about it. So, but yeah, all that fun little things to do, all these fun projects. This weekend I will be working on my Truman Show project. I have that almost all ready to go. I've just been cutting out the steps and all those things here. And in fact, I did the steps the other day. I even did a video. I didn't even put out the video yet. And said, oh, that looks pretty good. And so it's going to be one of those easier projects than you anticipated. In fact, the problem I had is the backing, coming up with the siding, the backings and stuff. And, oh, wow. It's amazing when these are off so much. You're like, how is that off so much? There we go. So coming up, one of the first things that when I'm working on any project, I always worry about is the base, the backing, favorite movie ever. Let's see, I've been trying to find a black Cadillac Sedan DeVille for inspired by Western Town sets. Oh, cool! In 164 scale, huh? Let me write that down. I'm gonna write that down and see if I can come up with a solution. Because there are some other car companies that aren't Hot Wheels or Matchbox, so Yeah, Truman was just a weird little one to do. I don't know. I just had the picture. It was so inspiring, and the picture I was using was not even from the movie, and I didn't know that until later. So I just copied someone else's thing. So yeah, Seven is such a good movie. I really like that movie. In my car crash. There's a diagram I did with the two police cars and the truck pushes the cars and makes the cars move, and it's on the highway road. That diorama, I have a tiny little box side of the road, and that's dedicated to the movie Seven. That's why I made that box. I was like, that is a head in there, that box. Of course, there's no head in that box, but I do have a head in my Sweeney Todd diorama. There is a head in one of the waste baskets. Because, I mean, the head is the hardest thing to eat. So, you know, I have to make sure I censor myself when doing these live shows and not talk about too much into horror movies, right? I do love to watch horror movies. It's the interest in them. The one I just watched was it's not really a horror movie, but it's the Dust Bunny with Mads Mikkelsen. I just watched that yesterday. It was very good little movie. So check that one out too. Check it out. Yeah, I just put up on the other channel one of the cars in the lake diorama that I created. See, I need to come back through here and re-release all of the videos that I put out years ago where I introduce you to every, like most all the art projects I created back in the day. I should probably do that again. But YouTube hasn't made it very easy to put out old content over and over again. So hopefully that maybe they'll see that that's something that we could do because I have 1,300 videos and it's sad to let them linger sitting there forever and no one watching them. They're great videos. So of all the random things I've made. All right, I gotta hold my breath for a second. Okay, get those lines in a little better every time. Every time. Let's check the time. We're at 42 minutes. Can we get to the full hour today? I don't know. I feel pretty good. Yesterday, I was like, that's all I could do. I could do like, what was it, like half an hour or something. So that's all I have energy for is a half an hour. Another thing too, it's hard to tell, is this transparency sheet is really difficult to tell where it is sometimes because it blends in so well. Just want to fix these up, get this going here, and all right, got that. And oh, I widened these windows up too. They were tapered too small. You can kind of see the first line there, and then I added the second line. So what I do to these windows, let me just pop in here. Do I always paint with oil colors? No, I paint with everything. I used to paint houses, so I'm very familiar with acrylics and latexes. And I've been trained to be an oil painter, but I do watercolors and acrylic paints, whatever, you know, I can paint with water, I'm sure of it. That's what they do in Japan. They just have those giant water brushes and just practice writing over and over again artistically. That'd be very cool. I don't like to do the same things over and over again, though. See, that to me it's redundant. I don't like redundancy, so I hate. That's why I kind of hate to do like chores, even because it seems redundant to do the chore over and over again. Does anybody else agree with me on that one? Like, why should I fold my clothes and put them back if I'm going to take them out and put them on? Like, you know, of course, I do that. I do fold my clothes and do all that fun stuff, but I hate it. I hate it every second of it, but I still do it. All right. I'm just getting this in here, just kind of adding a little bit of darker in that spot. A lot of this is more of just me talking and trying to stay focused on painting, but since I'm so good, so trying to practice doing that, I'm not a professional. I'm still going to randomly talk about random things. Oh, I'm going to grab this. I do remember now what I was doing. I was going to grab some light colors and put those into these windows. And let's just zoom in and I'll show you how I'm going to deal with this window here. One of these windows. Okay, this is a good area. This is real fuzzy looking. We have a lot of dark. And so I'm just going to come through and put in the window. I'm going to make sure I get to the top, leaving this side open, leaving the black line on that side because that's the trim that you see when you look down. You see this side and then the bottom trim. So I can fix everything up like that and then, go across, down, and then get that middle line more straight and look. So what I'm doing is just straightening everything up. Sometimes I just forget about the lines and just go through and paint it like this across the whole thing and then put my lines in at the end. One other thing I'll do, I'll show you really quick, is I'll just grab my white and say it's like one of these windows where it's all dark and there are a lot of those windows on here. So what I've done, instead of putting a dark line, I'll take this and put a real light white line across to look like the sun has hit those and it's just turned it to look like white. That's not the best example because I'm talking. Every time my heart beats, you can see one of these little lines that go boom, boom. So if I hold my breath, it's much easier. There we go. Hold on. I dropped something. I gotta climb under the table and reach it and get it. Gosh. I'm not supposed to bend over, but here I am. Okay. That looks good. So a lot of these little things. And while doing a lot of this work, you can get a lot of little scuff marks back up on your paint. So at the end, I'll come through with my steady rest and without touching my painting, I will clean up those areas at the very end, make sure they're perfect. So it's really important that I try not to over touch areas I've already touched to get them all scuffed up again. So, but I really need to work on this area up here. And I've really put off this top area while working on it because I have to reach up higher. And I don't like to physically do that. It just hurts. It just hurts. Yeah. All right, I did that spot there. That looks pretty good. So it's these little things like that that you can do to add some interest and detail to these random paintings coming in. So just put a little line there and put a little line there. And if I don't think those are close enough, I can just slowly manipulate and work those back and forth until I like how they are. And that's sometimes what it is. It's just to manipulate it back and forth, working and getting it just right to really make things work for you. Okay, perfect. It's not, but I'm just saying it is right now. So sometimes if you just put a black underline first and then put that white line over, that even adds a nice extra effect. Oops, too much paint. Too much paint on my brush. I do have a painting song. It's a Sublime song that I re-sang my own way. I think that will work. Okay, that's a lot better. That's more clean, crisp looking. Look at that. See, sometimes if you just put wet paint on wet paint, it'll help you out. Like if I want to do a really crisp line, sometimes if I put a light gray outside edge, I think women do this with makeup too. You, I don't know because I don't wear a lot of makeup, but you put an outside clean line, right? Like that. Like say right under where you're gonna put your eyeliner. And then you take the eyeliner, so and then you go ahead and put it on. And that way if you messed up and got it outside of that area, then you can go back to that wet paint again and then just wipe away that dark eyeliner you just put on, messed up. That's what I'm thinking is a comparison right there. That's a good philosophy right there. So, and then if I do this, come back to this, let this dry and come back, I can clean this edge up so it doesn't look so fuzzy. So you can see what I'm saying, how it has a fuzzy look. So I'll give you an example of what we could do to make it look better. Except I need to get some new brushes out. I think I've just used up, because the brush I would do for this, I don't have it out here in front of me. So it makes it hard to make this work right. So I'm going to put this line on top, and then I've got that lighter color, and we're just going to go ahead and go right across the top of everything in that line. Whoops. This brush only holds so much paint, so it isn't going to go all, it's not going to last all across all of these. And then I have to get a white paint for this middle section. Okay, and then when I pull this up, I'm going to pull it up into what I already painted. So if there's any lines left in that paint, it's on this, and then I can just wipe it off like that. It's super easy. So look at how much more crisp that looks. A little bit lot cleaner. It's not as fuzzy looking, but it still needs some work, so I'm not going to deal with that too much. A lot of times when you're doing these, you just do what you can and then go walk away or go do a different section and allow this section to dry. It's much easier than trying to manipulate it back and forth over and over again. Just put the steps in and do those steps that are needed, and then you can come back and complete the mission later on. I do need my stick. I have a stick here that I've been using. It just helps me stay a little bit more stable, and it keeps me from putting my fingers onto the painting. At this stage, you really need to keep your hands off the painting. And another thing that happens when you touch your painting so much, it becomes very loose, the canvas. So we will do a video on how to tighten that up, probably a little bit more closer to the end of the series of this painting. And yesterday I put, I'm at 322, 331 and a half, 331 hours, 331 and a half hours. That was a mouthful. I'm sorry. I had to figure that one out. And what I do is write all the hours on the back of my painting. I do not keep track of everything that I do, because sometimes if I am just having fun creating something, I don't really need to document my fun. I will document it in other ways except timing it. Timing it can just take the fun out of things. So that's what I just do, is just clean these up by putting that in. And then I should really decide now if I want darker or light windows, because the sun is hitting this spot. So any curtain should be a little fuzzball. Another little fuzzball. So any curtain should be white or open and look black inside. So those are your two options. Now I have done some lighter gray curtains. That's okay. But if you study business or buildings in the cities, if you look at buildings and really, find out about the building and stuff, what you'll find out is government buildings will have white, identical window coverings. And that's even public housing, all of that. They all have identical window coverings, and they're usually white. And then if it's a private place, then you can have there's other color windows, of course, and whatever they want personally. But government buildings have the white curtains. So you can really tell that when looking at a picture too. And then there's other types of buildings that just have the regular white curtains too. But in my town, I noticed that specifically. So I figured it has some sort of representation when you start to look at other buildings, and you can start to kind of classify what's going on a little bit. It's just little tiny architectural things that people don't realize, I guess. Wow, why is my tummy growling? I mean, I had a piece of toast. Jeez, it should have been enough. It should have been enough. Oh, now it's a black cat. A totally different cat than the cat before. Oh, let's see. What is the symbol on the side of the building with the arrow? This is a Lady Liberty stamp here. And so it's supposed to be beside the mural. The arrow was just extra. So yeah, Lady Liberty stamp right there. I was thinking about making her look better, but I might just keep her looking like that. Actually, now that I said that, I seen this tiny area on her. I was like, fix that. Just fix that one spot, Tammy. Right here? You mean? Yeah. Fix that spot, Tammy. Hi, kitty. There is a special hole my dog dug over here, and the cat is in that hole. And this one is a totally different cat than the last cat. So, okay, there we go. I just took away that little line under there. I'm trying to see. Perfect. Yeah, I even added. See, the funny thing is, I said to myself, "Why don't we just fill this full of symbolism?" And I was being facetious towards myself. Let's just fill it full of random symbolism everywhere. And I was like, "Ugh." Then should I get a the cheat sheet out for the homeless or the traveling hobo? In America here, there are symbols for the traveling hobos. There's names for specific, like hobos, bums. There's actually they all mean something specific. Like one works from town to town, a transient worker or something. But they have these like names. If you look them up, it tells you. And so they actually have symbolism that they would put on places that they were traveling or visiting so other people would know if that area was safe, if there was a place that they could camp nearby. So there's all types of symbolism of that. I actually knew some homeless people that had some really cool symbolism for being homeless on purpose. That it was a lifestyle of being homeless and traveling around. So not everybody chooses. Some people choose that life, and I have to say is that the people that were choosing this actually had no education. They probably couldn't really read, and it was the life that they had already known. So, no, you can't really judge what other people are doing in their lives if that's all they know. If you never know anything other than that life, how is it hard? It's hard for you to understand anything else around that. And but you can really learn a lot from talking to people that live on the streets. There's definitely a different type of street smart than people know of regular. There's definitely different survival techniques and situations. Actually, even they even gave me a cool prison pen, and it's a homemade prison pen. What they show you how they make it and stuff. I don't know. It's a lot of information, I'm sure. All right. But when I was a child, we would go and help feed the homeless and do a lot of volunteer stuff. And so I've just kept doing that in my life. And my sister also she still volunteers with her husband. So I think that that's one of the good things that I think my family has instilled into us is to always help out others. And I feel like I do that with my art. I'm trying to inspire people. That's why I'm showing you so many different types of art too, to show you that there's many things you can choose from. You don't have to just choose from this one or this some. You can do so many other things. And I feel like that's important that people know, especially if you're young. You're sitting in a house all day taking care of a child or something and you're bored and you don't know what to do and you don't have money to buy things. Well, you should be able to make stuff from just what's in your garbage can, really. And that's how I started, is by making garbage art. I couldn't afford to buy the materials, so I just started doing recycled art. And the funny thing is, when I started selling my recycled art, it supported my painting education. So I was able to buy the materials for my painting by selling my recycled art. People love my recycled art. I don't really make it anymore because, you change over time. But I do still so often will do something. And I have some projects I've thought about doing, but it's a different type of mentality to do the recycled art every day. So, and it was fun to do it when you're young because, you know, there are no restrictions, there are no rules. All right. Go, and we're almost at our full hour. How exciting. I did an hour. I didn't mess up. I wasn't an idiot. Yet. I still have 4 minutes left. Anything can happen. I tried. That's just trying. Just create and the money will come. I always hear this as an artist. Just do the work and the money will come to you. Okay, all right. I went and looked in my mailbox and it wasn't there yet, so I don't know what I'm doing wrong. There was no money in the mailbox. And whenever someone asks me on social media if they're interested in buying something, they never end up following through with it and with the conversation. So why bother trying to sell individually? It's so difficult. That's the thing I really hate to do is try to be a salesperson, but I have to be. I have to be a salesperson. Ugh, don't want to do it, but I have to. All right. I'm just gonna blend that out real quick. There we go. Just take it a little bit easier there in that section. And let's do a little bit over here in this section. Let's just do it real quick. Yeah, this year I'm exploring dioramas to hang on the walls. The thing is that you can only have so many dioramas put on your tables because you only have so much spaces. But reality is, you know, dioramas on the wall might be the next best thing. Okay, I don't know if I like that one dark line. I've got this mini oval brush that I've really just used the heck out of. It's not even working anymore. It's just a big nub, but it really helps blend or take away lines. Where was I working at? This happens often. Oh, okay, here. I didn't even really need to do anything worth noticing, but there we go. I don't know what this structure is here. I never really decided what I wanted that to be. And it's not me, it's the structure itself. Let's put this line in here. Why does that look crooked? I think that does look crooked. See, you want that same line to go across, but if it looks crooked, let's just do this. Let's do this. Whoa, at the end I ran out of paint, so it kind of doesn't look so good. But where's that one that blends so well? Yeah, there we go. Let's pull that up and off, and we've just got a little line to work off of. Make sure we're all straight about. We're all doing good. All right, we did that hour. Awesome. Thanks you guys so much for joining. I really appreciate it. It's been awesome. I'm going to look around and see what I can find out if I have something that will work for a black Cadillac Sedan DeVille. I'm writing the information down here. 1/64 scale. Cool. All right, everybody. Have a great one. Thanks for watching. Bye.